Adam Boehler joins us now, founder and CEO of Rubicon Founders and the entrepreneurial healthcare investment. Adam was one of the Abraham Accords negotiators, former Taliban negotiator too, worked during the Trump years. Adam, welcome back. This seems to me be an historic opportunity. Perilous, yes, but an opportunity to take out our top Middle East nemesis since 1979. Should we do it?
100%, Brian. One, it's good to be on the show, but two, I think you're exactly right. Never before has the game changed so much. And it changed once we killed Nasrallah. And so when Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, was killed in his bunker 40 feet under the ground, which obviously is kind of a feat not only of military intelligence, but also of military might, it opened up the board. And I think Israel's going to run it.
They will respond. They said it. They said that you made a huge mistake. What do you think in the first hit on them after the first strike, Trump famously said, take the win. And he held them back. But they sent a message with their strike. We can hit you. We know where your nuclear program is. How did you interpret it?
I interpret exactly how you did, which is at any time we can do what we want. And it's interesting because Israel's major failure intelligence-wise clearly was on October 7th. And why is that possible? You know, Israel's super sophisticated. You see how sophisticated they are because they went really low-tech, Hamas did, and they're a neighbor. And because Israel had thought that they had them placated. It was a huge tactical mistake by Israel. But what Israel has been planning for years and running scenarios is how to attack Hezbollah because they always knew they would have to remove them, and how to get rid of the nuclear facilities in Iran. Now you're going to see them run plays that they've rehearsed a lot.
The longer we wait, in my view, the Russians in trying to pay back Iran for bailing them out in this Ukraine war with their drones and with their rockets, they're going to say, hey, I need that SR-3 missile defense system. And if they start getting missile defense around their nuclear sites or around their country, game over. So this is a window in so many respects, and I don't think the new president wants this fight, but he has no choice. For years, he told Hezbollah and Hamas, we got your back, do our fighting. Now they're getting blown up, and they're looking to Iran and say, okay, now do some fighting for us. And that's what we got yesterday, and very few of those rockets hit, and now Israel's prepared to strike, which could be a fatal blow.
It's amazing. Every time Iran strikes, everyone says, a lot of people say, actually, they did that intentionally. Remember when we killed their number two, right? They sent a rocket, it wounded some American servicemen, but it was meant, it was intentionally not meant. Their first attack on Israel, et cetera, intentionally not meant. The problem here is these things aren't actually that intentional. Iran just doesn't have that sophisticated of an air force or a missile store. Having a lot of missiles is not the same thing as having good missiles. And Iran just doesn't have the muscle. And they've been hiding it for a while, like a bully does, making threats, sounding bad, having others carry out attacks. The problem for them now is they're naked and no one's protecting them because Hezbollah's gone.
So you wrote a column, number one, prior to this with some General McCaffrey, Dennis Ross, and Jerry Sonnenfeld, about this is time to tighten the screws on Iran. 80% of their revenue comes from oil. We're letting them trade oil on the open market. We're concerned about the price of oil going up if we strangle them. But it's time to say enough with that, start clamping down. But what can we do if China and Russia, which they're not, and North Korea don't want to go along with this?
I mean, look, what you can do is you tighten sanctions, and then if you really want to tighten things, you just interdict ships. And so we have the ability to interdict ships that are coming or leaving Iran. We don't do that today. And so if you're going to put sanctions down, one, put them down to the fullest, and two, enforce those sanctions in a way where ships don't get in and out of Iran. That's how you choke, and that's how you weaken it. And I think the United States' role in this right now should be two things. It should be fully supporting our ally, Israel, as they go to take out these nuclear facilities by any means necessary. And the second thing, it should be choking out economically, because what you said in the beginning, Brian, is so true. The people of Iran They don't want to be in this situation. I mean, I'm sure you've seen, before in late 70s, the pictures of Iranian women, pictures of, that are not in this situation in a place where you have a dictator. And the Iranian people, quite frankly, will do the rest.
We have three guys that were killed. Three of our service members were killed in Syria. We never avenged that. They shell our bases regularly through their militias, and the Houthi rebels, who they fully finance and arm, are targeting our ships in the Red Sea. That is enough for us to take action, let alone being the chief ally of Israel. And you've seen the maps of our military assets in the region. Adam, you also know what we're capable of and what Israel is showing the world what they're capable of. So what do you expect to I know what you want to happen, but what do you expect to happen in the next few days? The sites they talk about is refineries, oil sites, as well as weapons depots, and possibly nuclear sites. Where do you think they'll head? And what should we be doing?
I think the most important thing here will be the nuclear side of things. The other things are strategic things. That's fine. And honestly, I'd sure as hell like them to get the Ayatollah too. That's not that important in my view, because all of that changes. They make the right moves here, and we choke out economically. You have a situation where there will be regime change, not because of us, because the Iranians will recognize that. Basically, this guy's the Wizard of Oz, right? Really, he's kind of behind the organ, and there's a big projected picture of the Ayatollah, but There's nothing there. So they have a Wizard of Oz. And what happens when you realize that there's a little guy behind the thing that doesn't have power? You take him out. We don't need to even do that. They will, once that's revealed. So I think the biggest thing, and we really, really need to support Israel on this nuclear stuff. We've got great intelligence. We've got fighter pilots. We've got bombs there. It is for the world. And really, we're not talking about Jewish, Muslim, American. I will tell you, every country that I work with on the Abraham Accords, every single Muslim country wants Iran not to have nuclear weapons. So we are doing a favor for the region, for the world, for Israel, for Americans. So this is not a Jewish, but this is as bipartisan and as a world uniting thing that you can get. Is we've got to collaborate. So I'd like to see American missiles going with Israeli missiles, taking out the nuclear side. They'll take out strategic sites too, but the nuclear side is what matters here.
So Adam Boehler is here. Adam, what do you say to people listening right now saying, well, we did this with Iraq. We get rid of Saddam Hussein. We got one less enemy in the world, and it was much harder than we thought. What do you say to people who say this is the same playbook?
What I would say on this is the key on things like this is when we make a regime change and we stay and we prop, it's problematic. It was problematic in Iraq. It was problematic when we stayed in Afghanistan. You had what's the name from Afghanistan? Ghani, right? I met Ghani a number of times through this. A nice academic guy, but the reality was hugely unpopular in Afghanistan, and we propped. That's the truth. It's why the Taliban were able to rise, etc. So in this case, that's why I said I in some ways care less on what we do with the Ayatollah or what happens there, because I think that's an Iranian issue to some extent, or what happens with government. We'll see what happens. I care a lot, and we should all care about the nuclear side of things. So that's different. That's different than regime change. I believe that will happen once the Iranian people see it's the Wizard of Oz. We don't need to affect that. What we need to do is take that nuclear power away.
Adam, if Trump wants you to go back with him, would you go back with the administration if he wins?
I am always supportive of the Trump administration. So I'll say that. I'm always supportive, even if I can't immediately go in.
Put it this way, the Middle East will be the focus right away, and you got that expertise. And he does say that we're going to go back and start isolating Iran right away, and you would know how to do that. But let's see what's left of Iran by the time that happens, because the Israelis are pretty focused. Adam Boehler, thanks so much.
I think the president will do a great job.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I think that Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to do a heck of a job in the next few days. You listen to and it's tremendous risk too, but he sees no choice. And if you were him, I think you'd make the same choice. Brian Kilmeade Show.